racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
It's time for yet another season of Monday Night Racing in Goat Locker Racing. We are here tonight for the opening race of the Alexander PC ARCA West Series, where a full field of cars will take on the legendary Daytona Superspeedway. I'm Sky Shrek, and I'm joined in the booth tonight by Bradley Cooper, who will also be our producer, and we're here for 40 laps of high-speed action. Bradley, what makes Daytona such an iconic racetrack?
Oh, it's the iconic race that starts the season for every series all the way back to 1969. And, you know, when Sky, you come to this place, it's a racetrack all its own. This track, of course, 2 miles in length, high speed. It kind of set the template for a super speedway back in the day. 2.5 miles, 31 degrees of banking. Talladega is the only track that rivals it, but pack racing. This ARCA car, it's going to be difficult to keep the draft. If you lose it, you're going to fall out of the pack. That's the name of the game. Stay with everyone around you.
And qualifying is wrapping up right now, so we'll have that grid for you in just a second. We are split into 2 streams this season. We have this stream for ARCA West. We've got another for ARCA East. If you see your favorite driver on this grid, he's racing in the West Series all season. If you do not see your favorite driver, you might want to go over to the East stream. They will also be running at Daytona with a different full field of 40 cars. Here's a quick look at our schedule. We start tonight at Daytona before hitting Texas, Rockingham, Atlanta, Lime Rock Park, Chicagoland, and New Hampshire over the first half of the season. Dover, Gateway, and Nashville Superspeedway will round out the regular season before everyone rejoins for the playoffs, and we get Richmond, Auto Club, Pocono, North Wilkesboro, and the championship race at Las Vegas. Qualifying has just wrapped up, so we'll get you in to our 42-car field tonight at Daytona. The Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award for tonight is going to go to the 92 car of Riley Marabello. Jam Printing and Promotions is a longtime partner of Goat Locker Racing and have contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. They're local and veteran certified, and when they do well, they do good in the community. Riley Marabello will win that pole award tonight with Noah Hogard in the 158 going from P2. Row 2 tonight is going to have the 64 car of Trevor Dyer on the inside. David Calvert in the 41 will go from P4. Christian Angel in the 79 rolls off 5th tonight with Thaddeus Friel Jr. in the 08. Dawson Delaney goes from 7th. Jared Green in the 3 will be on the outside of row 4 with Daniel Parks in the 71 and Mark Whitley in the 74 rounding out your top 10.
11th position, Kevin Price in the number 80 with Brandon Wallace, a name I'm familiar with, starting in the 99, will be in 12th position. 13th going to Barry Stevens, David Caleb Sr., Calvert Sr. rather, in 14th position. 15th, Nicholas Chussel in the 022, Bobby Bender in 16th position. 17th going to go to Skylar Daly with Okie Montgomery in 18th. Rounding out that top 20 is Jacob Ellickson, Chris Margazzetti going to start in 20.
Jake Ham rolls off 21st tonight. Daniel Krikeel on his outside in 22nd. 23rd is Ashton Acero Nolan in the 23 with Hamza Khan in the 905. Hayden Muir rolls off 25th in the 84 car with Warren Clayton on his outside in the 117. Row 14 tonight is Armando Melgoza in the 78, Alan Bergen in the 89, and the last 2 cars in your top 30 are Mark Hollifield in the 21 and Douglas Macedo in the 62.
Isaac Ortiz is going to start in 31st. Mike Swartzen is going to start in 32nd. Joshua Thornton, Travis Gilbert, another name I'm familiar with. Larry Pulling and Brock Price going to start 35th and 36th. All the way back here to Joseph McWhorter. Sean Kaser is going to start in 38th. Marine Smith, Mark Cofield. Of course, broadcaster labeled there, but that's Darren Price on the field with Brian Fargeyer in 43rd. So a long field of 43 cars split up between pro and amateur. We're on the West Series here at Daytona, week 1.
We are getting ready to go. We've got a full field of drivers, which I find so exciting, not just in ARCA West, but also in ARCA East. That's how much interest there is in this series here in Goat Locker Racing. We'll be running 40 laps tonight. 4 tire sets available. I don't think anyone will actually use any of those. 2 green-white checkered attempts, 65% fuel load with an iRacing fixed setup. And as always, we are split into separate pro and am classes, so we will have 2 class winners here tonight. The pace car is going to pull off out of turn 4. It's pro driver Riley Marabello next to amateur driver Noah Hogard. They'll hit the restart zone, and the green flag flies on the Goat Locker Racing ARCA season. As we head onto the back straightaway, Noah Hogard still has the advantage at the front of the field, taking a big push from Dave Calvert behind. Now he drops down to the inside lane to hold that position, being closely followed there by the 92 of Riley Marabello, second place on that inside lane. As the outside tries to get some sort of momentum, it's Calvert and Friel Jr. up on the top. Big push is being given from the 3 of Jared Green. But as we take the line across lap 1, Noah Hogard is your race leader.
We got the 92. Marabello working that inside line. Split classes here. I know the inside's where you want to be. This car notorious for kind of scrubbing speed on that outside and pulling up that side draft. You can lose a lot of ground. It's going to take a talented pusher for this outside line to work. Oh, 99 sideways.
Brandon Wallace wrecking already there at the back of the field, and we're going to get a huge pile up on lap 2. Caution flies early on. You see Dave Calvert wrecked there as well. We're still piling in at the back of that. Couple cars taking some major damage back there. We're going to have to get a look at that. That was, looked like it started right around the 10th position or so with Brandon Wallace. Just kind of spiraled. So 99 to Brandon Wallace there. He's going to take a really awkward push from Dawson Delaney behind, gets into the 90, gets tapped by the 71 of Daniel Parks, and it just all kind of goes to crap from there. See some pretty decent damage for a couple cars involved in that. Kevin Price took a good shot as well. Wonder who that car was that went spinning in. Jake Ham with some damage.
Oh, wow, the 84. I mean, this right here is well after the fact.
That's Hayden Meir in the 84. And, oh, yeah, he got a tap from behind there.
Car disappeared and then piles in last second, the 03.
I think it's Brian Frauheiger in the 03 car. Yes, it is. That is a big hit for that car as well. So a couple cars are going to have to use that fast repair here very early, and that is, well, that was a very avoidable use of a fast repair there.
Yeah, Sky, I know some of the technical issues with some drivers that set the sim up. They maybe don't have that distance for the cars that appear on the racetrack, and maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think the 03 might not have even seen that incident until he was right on top of it.
Yeah, sometimes iRacing is weird about that. I know I have it at Max Cars personally, and I'm still having issues. So if I'm having that, drivers might be having that as well right now. EOL penalty will be given to Mark Hollyfield. I believe he requested an EOL. He does not want to be up in the chaos. He wants to try to sit at the back and avoid accidents. As we're going to see 1 or 2 cars into the pit, but it looks like most of the front runners will stay out, and it will be Noah Hogard in the lead. I do not believe that we've had an amateur winner in Goat Locker Racing since the Pro-Am split. Could Noah Hogard be the first amateur driver to grab an overall win tonight?
Well, this is one of those racetracks, Sky, that anybody can get it done. And it takes a special talent to get it done. But really, every one of these drivers has an equal opportunity. Now, we say that, you burn that fast repair, maybe you're a little bit gun shy now. I mean, we're within the first 5 laps of the race, you've already had to use that. You're probably going to dial it back a little bit. I would expect to see a little less aggression on the pushing, especially in the mid-pack.
Yeah, I think this will probably result in maybe a little bit less of that pushing. Like you said, we saw some very aggressive moves going on in the early stages of that race. Drivers were really trying to get position, giving big shots to the drivers in front of them to try and get themselves up the field. And I think now with this early yellow, maybe a time for the drivers to relax, to realize they don't truly need to push it that hard, or else they could end up in some trouble. A couple drivers took those fast repairs early on in this race. Looks like that would be Brandon Wallace obviously having to take it. Nicholas Trussell came down for one. Brian Frauheiger, Hayden Meir, Joshua Thornton, Dave Calvert, and Daniel Parks all coming down to put that fast repair on these cars as we get ready to roll. We got another car trashed at the back there. A lot of damage. That's Mark Hollyfield. What happened to him? Because I don't know if he had that. I don't know if he was involved in that incident exactly.
Some of these drivers had a kind of a break off from the field. We were riding on board with the 03, who was probably
this was under caution.
Back. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Maybe he slammed the brakes in an attempt to dodge some of the cars in front of him. It was a pretty big stack up under caution. Hollyfield got on the brakes, and then Joshua Thornton kind of got in the same position, also lost control of the car and ran into him.
Let's see if we can find that.
Would have been lap 3 on the back straightaway for both of those cars. If we can end up finding a replay of that.
No, Hollyfield got overhead transitions that aren't even here.
Yeah, what happened there was that everyone was getting stacked up trying to avoid cars in front of him there. Mark Hollyfield just sent it in a little too much, had to slam on the brakes. There you go, there's the back end of it. And then Joshua Thornton was also going a little bit too fast into there. Made nose-to-nose contact with that 21 car.
Let's see if we can get that look, locked up the brakes, and then, yeah.
There you go. So we'll get ready to roll back green here on what will be lap 6 out of 40. A lot of racing left for those cars to maybe take a faster pair and get back in it. But on the front row, it'll be the same drivers we saw to start the race, just in different positions. Noah Hogard rolls off from the pole position. Riley Marabello will go from the outside in P2. The rest of your top 10 is Trevor Dyer, David Calvert, Christian Angel, Thaddeus Friel, Jared Green, Mark Whitley, who is always a contender, not just to win these races, but to win these championships in the Alexander PC ARCA Series, Dylan Delaney, and Kevin Price. Those will be your top 10 drivers. Quite a few pro drivers up in that top first few cars. Riley Marabello, Trevor Dyer, Christian Angel, Mark Whitley representing the pro class. We've also got 6 amateurs currently sitting in the top 10. Looking to maybe grab the first amateur overall win here in Goat Locker Racing. The pace car is in. It's Hogard. It's Marabello. Hogard goes late in the restart zone, and we're back green at Daytona. A little bit of separation forming in the field here. Top 6 or 7 cars starting to get away. Hogard's got the run, but Marabello is taking a big push from the 41 of Calvert up there on that top lane. Calvert's got the momentum right now. He's got that 80 car, the 08 car of Thaddeus Friel up there with him. He'll give a big shot, and it's Marabello through the lead of this race. He'll pull down in front of Noah Hogard. He's your new leader.
Marabello got a big shove there on the outside. I don't know if there was a checkup on the bottom line, but now a little bit of a block as the 158 of Hogard goes to the outside. Of course, split here for the lead, outside, inside, Pro and Am.
Great racing up here at the front of the field. You've got Trevor Dyer. I believe this is his Goat Locker ARCA Series debut. Rolling down there in P3. Might be a threat for the championship this season if his performance so far at Daytona is anything to go by. Big shot to Riley Marabello. Got that 92 car majorly loose. And now we're going to have 2 cars down to the inside. It's the Am tandem of Noah Hogard and David Calvert down there to the bottom. And they are clear up in front of the field as Marabello tries to jump to the top, but he has absolutely no help. Trevor Dyer will try to get a 3-car line clear 1, 2, 3.
By for lap 8. Seems like we've been racing for longer than that, Sky. It seems like we've been racing for at least 15 to 20 laps.
Yeah, it does. We've been busy here in the early stages of this one. That outside's gotten formed back up. You've got Christian Angel there, 2nd car in line. Mark Whitley, 3rd. 2 of the pro class drivers who are always threats to win in this series, and you can never count them out. They've got a couple cars working behind them. It's Kevin Price and Skylar Daly back there, 4th and 5th in that line. 2 Am drivers tagging along the back, trying to steal that Am lead away from Noah Hogard, who sits on the bottom. Ooh, looks like they were trying to get it going. Riley Marabello wanted to run that high side, but Whitley and Angel dropped it out from under him, came down onto the bottom. They'll get clear here, 1, 2. Now the outside is faltering. Marabello starts to slide back. 4 cars clear on the inside. Major checkup down there. I'm not sure if we're going to wreck Jared Green Thornton saves it. Car hard in the outside wall, though, there, and that was a very close moment. We're wrecking at the back of the field. Caution flies for Barry Stevens and Joshua Thornton.
We saw that happen at Sky, and it was a wonder it wasn't with the 3 car of Jared Green. Ends up being the 25 of Joshua Thornton in the back of this, and I think that accordion effect caught him.
By the way, we missed this in the chaos. Black flag for Mike Swardson, I believe, on a restart violation. So he'll have to serve that. This is going to be that car that got hit up to the top there. It was Barry Stevens getting bumped up high as a result of this accident. And I think Joshua Thornton just didn't see him. He's trying to bump draft that 43 car, Brock Price, and doesn't realize there's a car slow on the wall until it's too late.
This is about the visual that you get here in Daytona. You got a face full of rear spoiler, and then suddenly a car's in your lap.
He could, yeah, he could not see him at all. He is not visible until basically it's too late to avoid for Joshua Thornton. That is an unfortunate one.
Product of super speedway racing. You have to rely on getting up to somebody's bumper and pushing that car, but you lose all visibility. You just have to have faith in the guy in front of you, the guys around you, that they're gonna hold their stuff together and not make any mistakes. That we've seen that a lot, where drivers will push and suddenly they're involved in an incident. So I don't expect to see the end of that after that one.
Well, I believe that will be the end of the race for Joshua Thornton, as he has already taken a fast repair, and that car is in pit road with a meatball flag. Barry Stevens in the pits with a meatball as well. So major damage for both of those 2 cars. I think Stevens had to tow, and he's going to lose a lap as a result of that. When the caution came out, it was Christian Angel up in front of the field in the 79, Mark Whitley second in the 74, Noah Hogard third in the 158, trying to get that first AM win. We'd like to thank one of our partners here at Goat Locker Racing. It's the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. They've always been a very big partner of Goat Locker Racing, and they're a major funding of the sim rigs that Goat Locker Racing gives out to veterans. So we thank them for their continued support of what we do here at Goat Locker Racing, as we see a couple cars ducking down into the pits here. I wonder if that's maybe a fuel stop. With only a 65% fuel load tonight, you're gonna need to fill it up at least once. A couple cars seem to have taken that opportunity now. Dawson Delaney in the 82 and Riley Marabello in the 92 were the 2 furthest up the field cars to come down and use that fuel stop, but a lot of others joined them. Brandon Wallace is in, Daniel Parks, Dave Calvert, Jake Ham, Corinne Smith. A lot of cars here in the pits getting some fuel.
I'd be surprised if anybody takes tires. Now, under caution, it's not going to penalize you as much, but not too beneficial in such a short race to take tires here tonight. However, they do have 4 tire sets available, and Sky, I know that it can become a factor if we ran under green for a while. If we ran all 40 of these laps, maybe had 35 or 36 for a caution come out, I might consider taking one of those sets just to make sure that when somebody gets glued to my back bumper, it's not going to push that car around.
For sure. It can definitely get a little squirrelier the further you go in this race, especially if you are using those tire sets. It generally is not a good idea to take them unless everybody is coming down and everybody's going to take them. You might see some drivers further back taking the risk, putting 4 tires on the car. But in a race this short, it's just generally not really worth it unless you are, someone who's at the back anyway, and you don't really have a lot to lose at that moment. Give you a little bit of a...
Whitley.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say Angel and Whitley here, part of the same class, and I'm just curious as to where you're going to have the inside-outside line both being pushed by another class with Hogard, Calvert. So I'm interested to see how that shakes out, because that inside line has got going on every one of these restarts so far. As
the field gets gridded back up here, 1 to go Until we go back green, we'd like to thank another one of our partners here with Goat Locker Racing. That is Nasty's Bar and Grill. On March 21st, 2012, Nasty's opened its doors in Hilliard, Ohio. From the get-go, they aim to embody the energy and passion that their sons, Nathan and John, poured into their dreams. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured that every guest received exceptional food and service. They have hosted numerous fundraisers in their establishment with the goal of raising the funds to donate a sim rig to a deserving veteran or first responder, and we thank them for their continued support of Goat Locker Racing. Nasty's Bar and Grill in Hilliard, Ohio. We're on the back straightaway now, and it's going to be, once again, Christian Angel and Mark Whitley going on the front row. Two drivers who you always have to watch out for in this series because they can always grab the win in this series. Looking back through the rest of your top 10, we've got Noah Hogard, David Calvert, Trevor Dyer, Kevin Price, Skylar Daly, Ashton Acero Nolan, who has gone from 23rd to 8th so far this race, Jared Green, and 34th to 10th, Travis Gilbert in the 341 car. Back from there, it's Jake Ellingson, Chris Bargetzi, Brock Price, Douglas Macedo, and Bobby Bender, all trying to grab a win here early on in this season. We've had 2 early cautions, and I think these drivers will maybe want to go for some more green flag racing. Wouldn't be surprised if the aggression gets toned down a little bit over these next few laps. This pace car will pull in at a turn 4 this time. We'll see if Angel can get a good jump down there on the inside lane. They'll trickle towards the extreme scoring restart zone. Angel hits it about midway, and we're back green at Daytona.
Man, that outside got going really well. Had to jump up in front of it. Look at that into turn 1. Angel's going to block that in the 74. Mark Whitley going to go with him, but here comes the 41. That's Calvert getting the run.
Saw how strung out the field got on that restart, and it's allowed for some of these bigger runs off the jump, like David Calvert on that inside line. Looks like they might have had it for a moment, but it started to fall off. Noah Hogard in the 158 is the pusher there. Here comes Kevin Price to the top. He's side by side right now with Dave Calvert. That's for the AM class lead, as Angel and Whitley are the top 2 cars in the pro class. You got Daly back here as well. Travis Gilbert is the next driver up in the pro class. He's running 3rd on that outside lane. Right now, the inside has the momentum with with Calvert, Angel, and Whitley as they try to make some time.
Kevin Price working towards the top 5, gained 4 spots, sitting here just outside the top 5, actually losing positions, but was on the move just a moment ago. That outside line fell apart. 158 just in front of Hogard. It's David Calvert leading for the amateur series.
As that inside lane is really pulled away, cars starting to get single file down on that bottom. In addition to your top 3 there, it's also Trevor Dyer, Jared Green, and Ashton Acero Nolan. Clear top 6 on that inside line. Brock Price in the 43 is going with them as they pull out in front of Noah Hogard and Brock Price, or Noah Hogard and Kevin Price, excuse me. That tandem on the top, that is going to the back in a hurry right now. Hogard sits in 7th place as the leader of the outside line as these top 14 cars, from that is Angel back to Bobby Bender in the 96, all sit in that lead group. There's a second pack back there as well, led by Thaddeus Friel. Here's the 3rd pack, led by Daniel Krakiel. Jake Ham's back in this one as well. Drivers have had a lot of separation on these restarts, and it's led to 3 or 4 different packs forming this time. That might cut the risk of caution here, as we've seen a lot of drivers just running single file on the bottom.
Yeah, and you're barely a quarter of the way through this race, right? You're already burning up fast repairs. You're going to see these packs split up because a lot of these guys don't want to be up here in the riffraff. And so you're watching this inside-outside line jostle around. You're watching the inside line start to prevail. If they single file out, they can beat this group groups of cars and run away with this race. So that's the catch-22. When you burn a fast repair, you start driving cautiously, you lose the pack, and maybe you lose the race because you have an opportunity.
Well, these cars up here at the front of the field are almost certainly going to need a green flag pit stop. That is because with only a 65% fuel load here, these drivers will be unable to go the full distance, as there's a little bit of blinking there from one of those cars in that top pack. That is, well, there's a couple cars doing it. Trevor Dyer is one. He currently sits fourth right now. This top five starting to break away from the side-by-side line behind him of Noah Hogard, Ashton, Sarah Nolan.
Whoa, right there.
Big moment back there in the third pack. That's Jake Ham. That nearly brought out the caution. We're still nearly going to. Oh, my goodness.
Raquel was almost in the wall. I think he did.
Oh, there it goes, Jake Ham. Well, that had been building for a while. And Jake Ham, oh, he's going to get tagged twice.
78 involved.
Who hit him there at the end? We're going to have to take one more look at that. Looked like it was Armando Melgoza and Darren Price getting into the 85 with Jake Ham there. That one had been going for a while.
Yeah, we might have to back this up even more.
It started with, as you see, a little bit extracurricular after the wreck, just insult to injury for Jake Ham. It started with the 62 of Douglas Macedo. He thought he was clear in front of Jake Ham. He was not. That got this pack all shook up. Jake Ham lost a couple spots. They ended up 3 wide. It was Marabello and Krakiel dooring each other into the wall up there. And then on exit of the corner, Marabello just kind of comes down the road a little bit. Jake Ham comes up, Marabello comes down, and that's how you got that Jake Ham spin right there.
That was the 68, I believe, that hit initially.
It's Darren Price.
Wow.
That was the big one.
Again, this is, packs that are trying to be cautious, groups of cars that are trying to hang back and not be involved in anything. Getting caught up in the incident. They're 4 or 5 seconds back, Sky, and they're still getting caught up in it.
Yes, they are, and that has produced some of the chaotic racing that we've seen tonight. I think we might see some more pit stops here. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if some of these cars up front maybe come down now that they are, I would say, likely good on fuel for the rest of this thing. Once again, if you have a favorite driver that is not in the ARCA West race tonight, we're running a split stream with ARCA East. They've got a whole different field of 40 cars, and they are likely over in that one. Looks like Barrett Morton leading that race right now. Him and Mark Whitley always have some good battles. We split them up into Pro and Am, or excuse me, not Pro and Am. We split them up into West and East. But those drivers know how to do battle. And we'd like to thank, well, we'll thank our partners in a minute here, because it looks like we are going to have that full row of pit stops underway as we hit the halfway point in this one. And that is going to be, looks like everybody who did not pit last time, because we are officially in the window where you can make it to lap 40 on fuel. And Christian Angel, Mark Whitley, everyone else will bring it down.
You'll only maybe some right-hand tires. I think if you're filling up with fuel, you might as well take the right hand. Some of these guys making the call to take no tires, and they're going to win that race off the pit road. Gonna be
David Calvert, first car off.
Yeah, Montgomery stayed out, so the 41, the first car out with Jared Green rather. And remember, Green was one of those cars that got moved up the racetrack, got shuffled around, maybe looking to get ahead of all that.
Okie Montgomery was one of those cars who pit about 9 laps ago on that last caution. He has elected to stay out. I wonder if he's good or if he might have to do some saving here in the closing few laps to get himself to the end. Otherwise, first cars out of pit road were David Calvert and Jared Green, both on a no tire call. Looks like Mark Whitley and Trevor Dyer, Mark Whitley and Christian Angel both took 2. They came out 4th and 5th. They're the top 2 in the pro class. And then Trevor Dyer, Noah Hogard, Jake Ellingson, Ashton Acero Nolan, and Corinne Smith make up the rest of your top 10 at the moment here on lap 20. I think now is probably a good time to thank another one of our Goat Locker Racing partners. That is MK Fire Design. At MK Fire Design, we believe every hero's story deserves to be etched in wood. From the thin red line to every branch of our military, we craft custom, handcrafted flags that honor service, sacrifice, and pride. Honor your sacrifice today at mkfiredesigns.com. Every flag has a story. What's yours? We thank them along with all of our other partners for today's race: Nasty's Bar and Grill, the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Jam Printing and Promotions, and of course Alexander PC, who are the title sponsor for this year's ARCA series. And I think we'll give a little bit of a shout out here to Alexander PC as everybody joins back up for the restart. Alexander PCs is a custom and gaming PC builder who have been modding and building systems since 2002. They are veteran-owned. They're a veteran-owned and operated, family business, and all of the team members, support, and production are US-based. All desktop PCs come with an industry-best lifetime limited warranty and service guarantee. Work, play, conquer. Alexander PCs, and we'd like to thank them for being the title sponsor of our ARCA West series here in Goat Locker Racing. As we get ready to go back green, it'll be on lap 22. Bradley, is there anything you're looking for here on this restart?
I'm just looking forward to the Above the Yellow Line podcast, when they're going to talk about all of this in the aftermath. I mean, when you split two different segments, East and West Coast, and then you have another split on top of that between pro and amateur. You put pro and am on the same racetrack. It can get hectic, but it can also make for some great racing. And we've seen both segments, East and West, have great finishes. A lot of highlights last season. This is the first time that we've done two different streams. We've had, East and West split across the board, but this is the first time that we've had simultaneous, running it on two separate streams. I'm excited to see what's going on the other side of things as we get set back up for this restart.
Yeah, I can tell you, we always have some great races here in ARCA. The ARCA race last season, ARCA East, I believe it was at Las Vegas, was the best race I've ever seen in my life. And I think we're going to have some pretty good ones this season, as Okie Montgomery takes the green flag and gets us back underway at Daytona. Oh, we're already checking up there on the outside. A little bit squirrely for David Calvert as he was being pushed by the 74 of Mark Whitley. Ultimately, that line is going to have the better speed. Calvert pulled out. He tried to drop down in front of Montgomery. Didn't work, and that's going to hurt the outside line. The 55 is back to the front.
Look at that iconic number 3 car on the inside line, giving the push to the 55 there for a moment. 41. Drop down in front, take the lead there for the AM Series. Very smart move. That's kind of a pro move there. He's keeping the drivers he needs to contest behind.
As we get a little bit of good racing now as that Mark Whitley car drops down to the inside, and now the outside led by Trevor Dyer is going to go to the front. I believe this is the first lap he's led tonight. He's being pushed by the 27 of Jake Ellingson. We haven't seen him too much either. Third in that outside line, Corinne Smith trying to grab the amateur lead away from David Calvert down there on the inside. We'll see if either of these drivers can get this worked out. As Dyer up into the wall, and we're going to wreck behind him. Ellingson, Corinne Smith. Everybody keeps it straight. I have no idea. Now they're wrecking.
46 around.
Well, it was a good run there. I was about to say, if everybody kept that straight, that I would have lost my mind.
I mean, we've got parts down the backstretch, but one car. That's it. I'm not advocating that we should have had more. Love to see this race go green. I don't know how either.
Jake Ellingson took a pretty big shot. So did Jared Green. Corinne Smith, it looked like, took 2 or 3 solid shots there. Bobby Bender took some of the damage. He got into the wall. This caution came out kind of in the aftermath. Corinne Smith was dropping down, trying to get some sort of draft off the cars in front. At the same time as Sean Kaiser, who had ducked onto the apron to avoid the accident, was coming back up onto the racetrack. I don't think either car saw each other, and Kaiser went around. But, I mean, look at how many cars we have down there. That's crazy.
That's like 12 wide down the backstretch. They're using every inch of pavement.
They're using the road course down there.
Yeah. The spread across that back straightaway, I don't think I've seen anything like that.
That looked like Pocono a little bit.
Yeah.
There's that spin with Corinne Smith, Sean Kaiser just coming together there on the back straightaway, and that sent that 46 car around. But again, could have been a lot worse even for him.
And thankfully for Kaiser, hasn't burned the faster pair just yet. I do believe, unless my metrics are wrong, I think the 46 just used it.
So there you go. He will come down and he will take that faster pair as we continue to race here. Man, we have so many amateur drivers doing good tonight. I know we have a lot more amateur drivers. We have 10 pro drivers compared to 30 AM drivers. As Oki Montgomery looks like he is going to bring it down pit road. Did not have enough fuel. Ultimately make it to the end of this one. Mark Whitley is the pro driver up here in the lead, but then, I mean, you look a couple spots back, you've got David Calvert, Jared Green, both representing the AM class, Ashton Asaro Nolan, Noah Hogard, Douglas Macedo, Warren Clayton, all these drivers back here. Mark Whitley has just dropped from the session. Now he's back. He was out for a solid 15 seconds.
Well, I also have to throw out the underdog here. If you had to take a guess, and I know I'm showing a car on screen right now, don't let that lead you astray. Who do you think has the lowest I rating here on this session? Who's the underdog in this pack?
Oh no, because now I feel like I'm going to make fun of somebody if I get it wrong. I'm assuming by the fact that you are showing Ashton Asaro Nolan, it might be Ashton Asaro Nolan.
It's actually this car right here.
Ryan Frogger, run 23rd.
774. So this is the underdog here, but we saw the 46, or actually the 800 I rating there, and the 42 up in the top 5, running third right now. So sometimes, you know, that's what's great about Daytona, Talladega, even Atlanta now, is that some of these drivers that might be new to this, the whole setup and the whole sim have a chance to go out and get a victory. And that can kind of cascade the whole season. It builds confidence, and put this car up in the top 3 even on a podium finish. That can lead to 2 or 3 top 5s in the next race, the race after that. And so I'm looking forward to some of these guys maybe kind of getting that hook, you know?
Yeah, and both of those cars have gained a lot of time in comparison to where they started. Brian Frauhager starting this race 41st, has that car running up in 26th. Same with Ashton Asaro Nolan, started this car back in 23rd, and now he's got that thing running up inside the top 10 in P6.
I actually have to correct myself.
Run up here in the top 20 as well. There you go. P19.
Running back up though, Mark Whitley, and you know, you see these pro drivers, but some of these guys are sleepers. David Calvert's been up front all day long. Don't let that pro and am fool you. I think this driver is definitely talented and knows how to work the draft. I think the 74 is in a better situation being on that inside, but Calvert could definitely find a way around on the outside. We saw it, I think it was 2 restarts ago, that outside line got going and they were able to jump down in front of him.
We'll see. I feel like every restart has gone a little bit differently here. We haven't seen any real consistent pattern emerge. Just kind of depends on who's in those lines, who's doing the pushing, who's receiving the pushes. And that seems to play a pretty large role in terms of who's actually able to get the better runs when we go back green. It'll be Mark Whitley and David Calvert up on the front row. Whitley, currently the leader of your pro class. David Calvert, currently the leader of your AM class. Trevor Dyer is going to go from P3. Jared Green, P4. Brandon Wallace, Ashton Acero Nolan, Noah Hogard, Douglas Macedo, Warren Clayton, and Chris Bargetzi round out your top 10. Back from there, it's Thaddeus Friel, Christian Angel, Alan Bergen, Skylar Daly, Dave Calvert Sr., Dawson Delaney, Brock Price, Travis Gilbert, Mark Hollyfield, and Mike Swardson inside the top 10. Mike Swardson had a black flag earlier, and he's already got that car back in 20th. Pace car will pull in here. It'll be Mark Whitley, it'll be David Calvert as we hit the restart zone. Whitley jumps, and we're back green at Daytona.
It's one racetrack that you probably don't want to get an early start, but it seems to have worked out for Whitley so far. 64 of Dyer gets up on the back end. Brandon Wallace back into the picture. Remember, Wallace was involved in the very first caution of this race. Tag on the apron out of 2.
Whoa, car's getting squirrely as the inside line seems to be the preferred line right now. A lot of momentum down there. Douglas Macedo, currently the first car on the top, getting a push from Christian Angel, and they're trying to mount the charge. As of right now, though, it is Dyer, Wallace, Whitley, Green, and Acero Nolan all clear up there in the top 5. Calvert now trying to get through for P6 as that outside lane continues to lose time in comparison to the overwhelming amount of cars making that happen there on the inside. I wonder if we're going to see Christian Angel or one of these cars back here to try to just drop down to the bottom. Angel will. He'll slide into 8th place on the inside lane, and that is only going to leave the top line out even further to dry. Really starting to melt back here. Acero Nolan's going to be pushed to the top. Might get a little bit of a run. Yellow flag is out. Brian Frauheiger. Ooh, big one.
3 sideways down the backstretch here.
He is going to take a very awkward push from Riley Marabello, and that is going to be the cause of caution.
Marabello had just burned a fast repair, but oh man, we saw that on that restart too. It seems like turn 2 sucks the cars down to the bottom. Is it down to that bump with the setup? I'm not sure, but it looks like they kind of oversteer towards that bottom of the racetrack, and Marabello probably not prepared for that 03 to pull down that far.
No, he wasn't the only car. Looks like it was pretty big damage as well for Hamza Khan and Bobby Bender as a result of that one. EOL penalty will be given to Riley Marabello there for cause of caution. So we are starting to run down towards the end of this race here. At 29 out of 40 as you get one more replay of the accident that sent Brian Frauheiger hard into the outside wall.
There was actually 5 or 6 cars involved in this. Initially, I only saw 2. But you see in the background there's a couple cars that got pieces of that. And I think a few of them had already burned that fast repair, so that's unfortunate for them. It's going to put a lot of these drivers behind the 8 ball. And Sky, when we work our way through this halfway mark, how many cars did we have already burning that fast repair? And of no direct doing of their own. It's just, you know, you're a victim of circumstance. You're deep in this field trying to avoid the incident. You end up caught up in it. Then you go even further back. You're saying, okay, I'm going to lag back and avoid even being part of that front pack. You still get involved with it. It's a tough break for some of these guys outside the top 20.
By the way, look who's in P2 right now. If my timing and scoring is correct, and it is. Actually, he's just been dropped back to P3. He was P2 for a second there. Brandon Wallace, who is having a great race behind the wheel of that 99 car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a great recovery. I mean,
yeah.
You go off of the stats of you get involved in an early race caution like that, and there's so many laps left to go, the likelihood of you even finishing the race, you know, it's a lot to overcome.
And He's done a great job to recover from that very early accident he had. It was within the first couple laps, really, and get that thing back going in good shape. As we have a couple cars that are going to maybe be out of the race here. Hamza Khan, Hayden Mir, Daniel Parks, all stuck in the pits with a meatball after that accident or some other recent shenanigans.
Is that Darren Price, Isaac Ortiz, Joshua
Ortiz.
Ortiz. I apologize.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's like David Ortiz, the baseball player.
That's 3 cars that have already taken an early exit. It's attrition at Daytona with around 10 to go when we go back green.
We got some pretty nice paint schemes up here at the front of the field. You can see that kind of octopus-inspired car from Mark Whitley on the Jawa.GG car. I unfortunately have to give it to Trevor Dyer, whose Alabama car back there in P2 is very nice. They did beat us in the college football playoffs, but I did beat Trevor Dyer in a eNASCAR College Series race, so you know it kind of balances out between the two. There was another one I really liked back there.
I have nothing to talk about right now.
Oh yeah, well I'm an Oklahoma student, so oof. Christian Angel, very similar paint scheme being rocked to Mark Whitley, has that same kind of octopus motif on that one, and it honestly might be my favorite paint scheme out of any of the ones on here. The red and the dark blue, really nice. We might see that paint scheme back up at the front of the field here over these last 10 laps of this one, because he's got a lot of speed in that 79 car. As we get ready to get back rolling here pretty shortly, the field will double file up, and we will be 9 laps to go before we take the checkered flag here, barring any overtimes at Daytona. You can always have those happening as we get later in these races, but for right now, it is Mark Whitley, it is Trevor Dyer, and it is Brandon Wallace up here in the top 3. 3 pro drivers getting it done. First AM driver in the field will roll off from the outside of turn 2. It's Jared Green, and he is very closely followed by David Calvert and Ashton Acero Nolan back there in that 3rd lane. Great race for Acero Nolan tonight, and if he could hold on, this would be a huge finish for the driver of that 42 car. We get back rolling here shortly. What are you looking for, Bradley? Do you think the aggression's going to ramp up here as we head to the end?
Absolutely. You're going to make calls that you wouldn't have made at the beginning of this race, and even if you've burned that fast repair, it's time to go. There's only so many laps you can make things happen, and you have to avoid the carnage. That's the main focus now. I know it's in the back of everyone's mind, but at the beginning of this race, it was probably 70% of your mindset. Now it's probably only 10%. You're gonna go for the gap. If there's a hole there, you're gonna stick your nose in it. You're gonna see some things happen here that haven't happened all race.
By the way, ARCA East is about to go into overtime in that race. So if you want to see the final 2 laps of that one, you can open a new tab, click back over there, and then come back here for the final 5 of this one as the pace car pulls in. And it's once again going to be Mark Whitley in the 74 leading to field the green, as he's done so many times in the glove station, the Alexander PCs, ARCA West Series, new sponsor for this year, Alexander PCs. Mark Whitley leads us to the green.
At the 03, we got problems in the back of the field already going into turn 1. That's going to split this pack. We stay green, though.
Mark Whitley takes off. I was trying to say that he is dominant here in ARCA West. He's been dominant in the ARCA playoffs. He is a driver who is a threat to win week in, week out. Doesn't matter if it's a short track, an intermediate, or here at Daytona. Mark Whitley knows how to get it done, and if there's anyone with the experience to guide this car to victory lane, fend off the challenges, never mind, he's going to get wrecked into the wall.
Whitley led all those laps and is now destroyed.
I didn't even get to finish my sentence. We have the huge one at Daytona. Oh my goodness, that's about 10 or 11 cars, including all of your lead 4 hard into the wall there. This is going to just be a bad push from Brandon Wallace in the 99. Gets that 74 bent out of shape mid-corner. He was pushing in the corner. The 74 bounces off the apron, springs back up into Dyer, into everybody, and you can see it just continue to pile up there through the mid-pack. Drivers wrecking, trying to avoid this one as well. Had to have been about 14 or 15 cars heavily involved.
And that was something, Sky, that we didn't really touch on there at the beginning of this race. The ARCA car is a no-no in the corner. You do not want to be glued to the back. It's so unpredictable. Look how square the 99 is. I mean, this is in Brandon Wallace's defense, but he is perfectly centered on the back end. We'll try to get an angle of that. Based on what I saw, he didn't do anything wrong. He's in the dead center of that back bumper, and with any other car on the iRacing service, that works.
These cars can be so much trouble in the middle of the corner, especially when you're pushing, because the way of the noses and the bumpers on these cars align. And that is the end result of that one. Brandon Wallace pushing in the corner, sends Mark Whitley around and takes out about 13 or 14 cars with him. That was a very, very large accident there. And we're going to have a big shakeup at the front of the field. It's now Wallace, Christian Angel, David Calvert, Ashton Acero Nolan, and Travis Gilbert, your top 5 across the line.
A check in there on the east side with overtime. Got a word on anything there. We had Daniel in here for a moment in our chat. Maybe we can get some announcements there from Daniel.
We will see. They were in, I believe they are still in overtime. They had a caution pretty early on, and they're going to have to run it back and do another overtime period in that ARCA East series. So as we get ready to go back over in ARCA West, we are going to come to the final 5 laps of this race. Very shortly, it will be 5 to go when we go back green. There are 2 green-white checkered attempts available, and I believe we are in the process of using both of those over in ARCA East. We'll see if we have to use them in ARCA West as well. 65% fuel, so if we get deep into this race and we maybe have an overtime or 2, you might see some problems with fuel for these lead cars. You could see some drivers maybe even duck it down to the apron under these cautions in an attempt to save any drop of fuel they can coming down to the end of this one. As you see everybody right around that bottom line down there, not seeing anyone moving up at all. Rest of your cars back from that top 5 right now are going to be Douglas Macedo, currently sitting in P6. Noah Hogard, we've seen him bounced around the top 10 all race long. He sits P7. Be Dave Calvert here, excuse me, we have a David Calvert and a Dave Calvert in this race, and I feel like I've been referring to them interchangeably. It is David Calvert up there in the 41 car, Dave Calvert Sr. back in the 90. I believe we had them split into different classes last time around. They're in the same one this time. Brock Price in the 43 sits 9th. Trevor Dyer in the 64 has not in 10th. My iRacing is glitching out. It is Sean Kaiser in 10th in the 46 car. He's recovering from an accident as well there.
I was kind of worried there for Brandon Wallace that maybe a black flag penalty, but I think that's a good no call on the 99. Again, we showed it on the replay. He was dead center. Just this car. That's all it amounted to. So I think it's good that he didn't get a black flag. He's still up here at the front and still has a chance with the round 5 to go.
And we'll see how this will all shake out. We've got Brock Price in the field. We've got Kevin Price in the field. One of our DNFs tonight was unfortunately Darren Price in the 68 as well. And then we've got David Calvert and Dave Calvert both up here in the top 10 positions. So some drivers with the same last name doing pretty well here tonight. I do not believe we've ever seen both Calverts up here at the front of the field at the same time. But David Calvert and Dave Calvert Sr. are going to duel it out for the AM lead, as David Calvert currently holds the lead of that class. Ashton Acero Nolan sits in that second spot right on the outside of that 41 car of David Calvert.
sure everybody wants to know where the top 10 is right now, Pro and Am. We'll put it up on the left-hand side of your screen. Brandon Wallace leading the Pro class. Albert in the top spot there in the 41. It's crunch time. Sky, I don't know what your predictions are, but I like the chances here for Brandon Wallace. But you got Christian Angel, who might look for a little redemption. It was a teammate that just got spun off of his nose. I don't know how he feels about it, but it could get a little hectic here in these final laps.
Christian Angel, always a good shout here in the Alexander PC's ARCA West Series, as it's Brandon Wallace leading us down to the restart zone in that 99 car. He gets a good jump and a pretty good push from David Calvert as we get back under green.
Might be too much, though, for the 99. I don't know if I like that much of a gap. 42 to the
it's
inside
Aaron
wall.
Nolan. Spinning down to the inside. He is off the racetrack, so now the caution will fly as we have more accidents.
Skylar Daly in the outside wall. That's on the racetrack. That will trigger a yellow every time. iRacing pace car gave me a heart attack just now.
That is going to start with Mark Whitley and a very optimistic move in the middle as he tried to regain some position. Was going 3 wide, sent it 3 wide. It looked like Dyer and Larry Poling on the inside. Skylar Daly up on the high side. Whitley just made contact with Poling. Sent him up the track and started a pretty big incident there. You'll see it right here. Whitley looking for anything he can get. Trying to get back to the front after recovering from that incident, and just makes the slightest contact with Larry Poling. Sends that car around. And that's how you get that pile up right there.
I said if there's a gap, you're going to stick your nose in. Whitley had to. He's been leading this all the way. He's trying to make up for all that lost ground. There's the gap. It's there.
Yeah, he tried it. I wonder if it was a little bit of net code there, because he looked like he might have had a little bit of space. Ultimately, he didn't, but he was certainly thought he had a little bit more in that gap than he likely did. And I might take a minute to look at that one here. Let's see. Not really net code. I think he did just get a little bit into the door of that. That was the 69 of Larry Poling down on the bottom, and that was ultimately what sent everybody else up and into the wall. There you go. We might go to overtime here. We will have to check on when the pace car is set to pull in, but as we are, well, we'll see if the lights turn out this time or not. The lights are staying on the pace car, and as such, we will have at least one overtime tonight. If we get maybe another overtime, I think this one will only add 1 lap onto our overall counter, most likely. But if we get another overtime after this, I would expect to maybe see some drivers with fuel concerns coming down to the end of this race. I think everybody's already saving as much as they can here under this caution. If we get another, they might have some problems.
The extension of this race, apparently 40 laps not enough. And Sky, we've broadcasted together. How many times have we said overtime at Daytona? You don't see it at the 1.5 miles too often, but you definitely see it at the super speedways. It's pretty common. By
the way, there was just an absolutely incredible finish on the last lap of the ARCA East race. There was a big wreck on the final lap, and then there was a side-by-side battle for the AM lead. 2 drivers ended up separated at the line by 0.004 for the lead of the AM class. So hopefully we can get something like that over here in ARCA West. I'm not going to spoil who won that one, but you can go over and check it out on the ARCA East stream right now as that race has come to its conclusion. This race is getting set to come to its conclusion, so if you are coming over from the ARCA East stream, welcome into ARCA West. We're about to have overtime here with 2 to go. The lights on the pace car, I believe, will go out this time, and we will get that overtime added on the board. Brandon Wallace is your race leader and the leader of the pro class. David Calvert is in second place, And the leader of the AM class, backing up through the rest of the top 10, it's Christian Angel, Travis Gilbert, Douglas Macedo, Brock Price, Dave Calvert Sr., Jake Ellingson, Noah Hogard, and Sean Kaiser.
The 10 cars that started this here in the Pro, only one has left the session. It's Barry Stevens. But then you had 30 cars start out here in the AM series, and 5 of those are off the racetrack right now. And actually adding to that list with Dawson Delaney, and I think that's Grakeel and the 83, Mark Hollyfield. That's a shame there for Hollyfield. He's pretty young to the iRacing world. Hopefully he can get it back going there next week. But you're watching the attrition here. It hasn't struck the pro drivers, and maybe that's another aspect that we can talk about, Sky, when we get to the finish of this race, is how many of these guys that are in the pro circuit are going to survive this thing.
And one thing I'm also noticing here with the order right now is that it does not matter where you start at Daytona. You can be here at the end. 4th place, Travis Gilbert started this race in 34th. 5th place, Douglas Macedo started this race in 30th. 6th place, Brock Price started this race in 36th. 10th place, Sean Kaiser started in 37th. 15th place, Corinne Smith started in 38th. You can go from anywhere here, dodge the accidents, knife your way through the field, and find yourself in a good position heading into a 2-lap overtime to decide everything. It's Brandon Wallace, it's David Calvert up on the front row. Angel, Gilbert, Macedo, the rest of your top 5. But if you're in the top 10, you've got a shot at this, and everybody wants to start their season off on a win. As the pace car pulls in, it's Wallace, it's Calvert, we're green, 2 to go at Daytona.
Green, white, checkered, number 1. Brandon Wallace gets a good push here, but he's going to have the 79 of Angel to the outside. Travis Gilbert can't go with them. They have an AM driver on the outside. That's Calvert.
Shakeups all through the field. Here comes the 3-wide racing. The 79 of Angel moves up the block. The 43 of Brock Price. If we get back to the white flag, this race is official, but these drivers are going all over the racetrack. They're not sure if it's going to make it that far. On the inside, Brandon Wallace is pulling out as we're shaky at the back. Kaiser into the fence back there, and we're wrecking on the exit of turn 4. Will we make it back to the start-finish line? The answer is yes! White flag in the air at Daytona. Travis Gilbert has the lead. That white flag is presented by Glove Station as Brandon Wallace holds it down on the bottom line, being pushed by the 62 of Douglas Macedo. Macedo battling with Gilbert. That's for the lead of the AM class. Excuse me, Gilbert in the pro class up here on the top. Fighting with Brandon Wallace. He's going to give a push. He's going to get wrecked. Saves it. What a save from Travis Gilbert. And now it's Dave Calvert down there running on that apron. Cars all over the racetrack. But Brandon Wallace still holds the lead entering turn 3. Macedo, Travis Gilbert, side by side behind. Here comes the 55 of Okie Montgomery from the top rope. Can anyone get to Brandon Wallace? The answer coming across the line is no. He wins the first race of the season at Daytona. Douglas Macedo brings home the AM class there on the outside.
Brandon Wallace, I've seen 3 now. 3 victories here for Brandon Wallace on V-Speed that I've witnessed. This guy is starting to prove to me that he is a super speedway king. And then we have Macedo in the 62, who's not even, he's going to act like he's been here before. He's not even going to celebrate.
Started 30th, by the way, for Douglas Macedo, the AM winner.
22 spots gained here. Actually, maybe a little bit off there. Let me go.
28.
28.
What a race for him. What a race for Brandon Wallace, who's going to get to burn it down here for the first win of the season in the Alexander PC's ARCA West Series. I'll let you listen to that one. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have finishing results and interviews with your winners. Stay tuned.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
We are back here in the Goat Locker Racing ARCA West Series after a thrilling finish there, and we will give you the finishing results right before we get into interviews with our race winners. The overall winner and the pro winner is the 99 of Brandon Wallace. He brought it home in the pro class. Travis Gilbert, second in Pro, followed by Sean Kaiser, Trevor Dyer, Christian Angel, Mark Whitley, Jake Ellingson, Riley Marabello, Jake Ham, and Barry Stevens.
Switching over here to our ANT results. Macedo going to bring it home on the outside of Brandon Wallace. Would have been a photo finish, but there it is. And then you have Hogarth, which was within 100 or 700ths of a second there, just behind. In second position, Montgomery going to finish in third. Then you have Senior on Calvert. It's David Calvert in fourth position. Fifth spot's going to go to Bender. Then you have Bargazzetti starting or finishing in sixth position, started back at 13th. Green's going to finish in seventh. Eighth spot to Friel. Clayton finishing in ninth. And Smith rounding out your top 10.
Finishing back from there in the AM Clash, Ashton Acero Nolan in the 42, David Calvert in the 41, Brock Price, Kevin Price, Larry Poling, Armando Malgoza, Skylar Daly, Alan Bergen, Mike Swardson, and Daniel Krikeel in your top 20.
Let me see if I can click the right button here. There we go with Delaney starting at fourth and falls all the way back to 21st. Hire is going to finish in 22nd, the 03. This is where the attrition starts to take over. 23rd spot going to go to Larry Poling in the 69, 24th with Melgosa in 25th spot. A little bit of a break here. We have actually Hollyfield. And I think my timing and scoring versus my final race results a little bit off here. But Khan in 26th spot. Parks going to finish in 27th, 28th with Price. Thornton going to finish in 29th. Ortiz going to be in that top 30 with about 13 more cars to talk about.
And we are going to get your interviews underway, and we will start with our overall race winner, the 99 of Brandon Wallace. Brandon, how you doing? Brandon Wallace, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. How you guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. You got the win there. Tell me about those final two laps and the stress you were going through trying to fend them off.
Oh, man, the high side, the low side was good for a minute. Then the high side started coming, and I went high. They ducked low. Then it kind of fell apart on the low, and I was able to get down. And so I was just trying to protect and hopefully not get spun out at the same time.
Yeah, you were running up front for most of the race there, but started out back in 12th. What was the process like of trying to make your way up through the field at a track as hectic as this one?
Well, it was pretty bad. We got one of our rookie guys in Bandits, and he just happened to give me a bad bump in 3. Just one of those same thing with Whitley. It's like the car bottoms out, and even though the other car's square on you, it just sends the car. So there's really nothing the front car can do but hold on. And so I had to fight my way back from 37th or 38th and come back up through the field. And I'd already used my fast repair, so it was just like, we're throwing everything to the wind and see how it works.
All right. Do you have anyone you want to thank tonight for your win?
Well, yeah, I want to obviously thank you guys in the broadcast. Thank all of GLR. I want to thank my Bandits teammates. Barrett, even though he won the other series, that lowly East series, we'll let him go. He said he gave me a shout out in his even, so I had to give him a shout out. I mean, teammates, having to give shout out thing. But, Save 22, obviously Lincoln Tech, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, INVETS, and ATYL. So everybody that helps put on this league, Jamie, Pat, even Jake Ellingson, hate to say it, but even Jake Ellingson. But we appreciate everything they do, and I'm glad to get the first one out of the way.
All right, congrats on the win tonight, Brandon Wallace.
All right, thank you, guys.
And we are now going to give it over to Bradley Cooper, who is going to be standing by with our amateur class winner tonight, Douglas Macedo.
Yes, well, we're going to switch over. Macedo, I got to say, I've witnessed 3 now for Brandon Wallace. Now I get to witness yours. And you had a lot more competition out here on this racetrack. So not to take anything away from Brandon Wallace, but there was only 10 cars. You had 30 to compete with here in the West Coast. And somehow, with all the damage on the front end of that nose, you find your way to victory lane.
I did. And I just stuck to it and grinded all the way up and ended up meeting up with Christian Angel, I think it is, 79 a little bit, and he was giving me the pushes to get going more when I was in 15th, and brought me closer, and it was close. And then him and I were right there, side by side.
We go back to that final late race restart, green, white checkers, because they're always chaotic. That backstretch, you saw cars jostling around, sliding back and forth. You find a hole and you just punch the air, and then suddenly there's really nothing to contend with.
Yeah, no, I was hoping it was more of a hope and dream, and hopefully I make it through it without any damage, and I was lucky. I mean, there was a few of them that I was close and getting taken out, but it was good. It was a good battle.
Well, on the 19th, we go on to Texas Motor Speedway, the 1.5 mile there in the south. We're going to stay below the Mason-Dixon for another race, but you've got a lot to prove here now. You've got a victory under your belt. Now we're going into 1.5 miles. Is the string going to continue?
I think it is. I've been doing a lot more racing with a buddy of mine who actually races in ARCA. So he's been teaching me a lot of side drafting and stuff. So I'm hoping that just continues.
Well, I have another interesting statistic. All of the cars behind you had over a 1,000 I rating all the way back to the top 10 here. So there you go. It's on the right track here. Douglas, anybody you want to shout out here for this victory?
I want to say congrats to Brandon Wallace and what he accomplished tonight, and also to Andy Jakowiak with Class Motorsports, who is the one that is carrying me on his shoulders and helping me out with this stuff.
You ain't first, you're last on the background. I know everybody can't see that. Unfortunately, I didn't have the cameras fixed here for tonight. I'll be sure to get that fixed when we see you next week at Texas.
Yep, you will see me in the top 10.
On to the Lone Star State. All right,
absolutely.
Macedo, moving on here, and we appreciate you coming up and talk to us.
Thank you guys as well.
There you go, Sky. It's another post-race interview, another victor at Daytona. I tell you, a lot can be said about this place, but it always makes for a great finish, regardless of, the in-between. From green flag all the way up to that white flag, there's a lot of different things that happen, but it's that finish that always puts on a great show, and that's what we look forward to here.
Yeah, it's always a great race at Daytona, and we're looking forward to another great race. Same time next week at Texas. How you feeling about that one, Bradley?
I'm excited. I think that Texas is going to be one of those racetracks that kind of separates what we saw here tonight from the guys that actually get it. So you saw it. We just talked to Doug. We just talked to the 99 of Brandon Wallace, but there's going to be some new names up here that might strive and dominate the race. Mark Whitley, of course, going to be one of those guys that's going to be bad fast. You could probably see Angel up there as well. Of course, you can catch all that action here on January 19th. Apparently it's springtime, Sky. I didn't realize that that's what spring meant here at Goat Locker. I thought, okay, March. No, we're going all the way from January to May 4th.
I was going to say, it was pretty nice outside today. 65 degrees, went for a nice run. Felt like spring down here in the south. I'm not in Texas, but I'm pretty close to it, so same deal. Thank you so much for watching, and for me and Bradley up here in the booth, along with everyone at Goat Locker Racing and all of our partners. We'll see you same time next week at Texas. Have a great night.
hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here we got the restarts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go.